Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I have my end of the month update for March 2025. Talk about the books I read, a few books that I got, talk about how things are going. So suppose we will get right into it. So first of all, I began the month by reading or finishing up a couple books that I started back in February. So I finished up, first of all, Songs of Love and Death, which is a short story collection by George R. R. Martin and Gardner Dozois, I think is how that's pronounced, maybe. Finished that up about the two books that I read or started last month. I finished about halfway through this month. It took me a while to kind of work through those, but I finished that up. I thought it was okay. There was some good stuff, some stuff in it that I didn't care for. You know, it was kind of your typical short story collection where there was a few things in it that I loved, a few stories I loved, a few stories that I thought were good, and a few that I thought were okay, just didn't really care for. So decent collection overall. Not bad by any means, just kind of a mixed bag, but yeah, had some good stuff in it though. I also finished up The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong, which I loved. I thought that was fantastic. I can't remember how far in I was by the time that I did last month's update, but I finished that up about the same time as Songs of Love and Death, and I really enjoyed it. A little slow to start, but by the third of the way through point onward was just amazing. And even the early portions that were a little slow, I think it worked because it had a lot more impact because of the early portions. So I really enjoyed it a lot overall. As far as stuff that was actually on my TBR for this month, I will not finish my TBR for this month, unfortunately. Just kind of been going a little slow at things, but I did read a handful of books. So those two included. I also, at the very beginning of the month, read Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I really wanted to get to it, so I started it right on the 1st, and it took me a few days. I read it in a few days, and I loved it. That was an amazing book. Possibly, it's hard for me to pick a favorite Stephen King book I've read. I've read 5 of them so far, and of the 5 I've read, the only one that I would say is not a contender for my favorite is Salem's Lot. And even then, I loved Salem's Lot. So it's like picking whether or not it's my favorite is very difficult. But I loved it either way. It was fantastic, very impactful, great characters, great setting work. Kind of took place in Maine, which is where I live. So it was kind of nice. A lot of places that I have either been to or heard of were mentioned in it. So it was kind of cool to kind of be able to put myself into the story in that way, and kind of get immersed in it in that way. It was really good, really enjoyed it. Very sad, which I kind of liked. I have a thing for stories that are just sad and bleak and depressing, which I really liked in that book. So it was a great book. I really liked it a lot. I also read a graphic novel, which I actually I'm going to talk a little bit more about in a minute. But I read Bloodborne: The Death of Sleep, the graphic novel, and I have actually, my review for that is already on the channel. I reviewed that, I think, earlier this week. Bloodborne's one of my favorite video games, and there are several graphic novels that are out based on it, and I decided to read the first one and review it earlier this week because the 10-year anniversary of the video game's release was this week, so I figured, that would be kind of an appropriate timing. I enjoyed it, had a good time with it. It was great artwork, interesting story, lots of fun lore inclusions from the video game, lots of things about it that were it was a little cryptic, a little bit not quite providing all the answers, which is something that Bloodborne does quite a lot, which was a little frustrating in some ways, but at the same time it was kind of fun to look at what's in there and kind of try to come to my own conclusions on it, which is kind of Bloodborne's whole thing. So I enjoyed it though. It was a good time. I'm looking forward to reading the other graphic novels. So then we have the rest of the books that I'm reading. Currently, at time of recording this, I'm recording this a few days beforehand, but I am currently in the midst of 3 other books. First of all, I'm reading Devin Erickson's Theft of Fire, which was sent to me back in January. I'm currently, at time of recording this, about 2/3 of the way through it. I intend to finish that by the end of this month, by Monday, the end of this month. I think that's going to be pretty doable, or at the very least be a good way, you know, almost done. And so far, I am very mixed on it. There are parts of it that I am loving, really enjoying, like the world building, really enjoy, there's a strong sense of voice and writing style to it, which I enjoy, but the characters, like the character arcs, the character development is fine, but the characters themselves I cannot stand. So it's a very mixed bag for me. It's a book that has a, like, if I try to look at it somewhat more objectively as much as I can, I'm like, you know, everything here is mostly done well, but I am not particularly enjoying it is the thing. I'm also started up Terry Pratchett's The Light Fantastic, which I am a little ways into. That one's short enough that I also hope to have it done by the end of the month, and enjoying that as well. Not so far one of the best Discworld books I've read. I've read 4 of them so far. This will be number 5. So far, not quite one of my favorites, but, you know, still fun, still enjoyable. And then I also am in the process of doing, I think I'm about a quarter of the way through right now, my reread of The Wheel of Time Book 1, The Eye of the World. I haven't been reading it a huge amount, so that's kind of gotten a little bit slower, haven't made as much progress on it. That one I've been kind of just working on a little bit in between, like Theft of Fire and stuff, because that one, since it's a little shorter, I'm going through it pretty quickly. You know, I'm trying to get that one done. So Eye of the World is unfortunately going to take me into April. Some ways I'm not sure exactly how long it'll take me, but I am going to still be reading it in April for sure. Hopefully I'll have these other 2 books done by the end of the month, or at least the very beginning of next month. So that means that unfortunately Star Wars Inferno Squad is not going to get read this month, so I will probably either put that off to next month, or I may, you know, in May, I like to focus a lot more on Star Wars books, because it's, you know, basically the month of Star Wars, with May 4th and everything, so I may read it in May. I might do that. I might just push it off to next month. I'm not entirely sure yet. I do already have a couple of other Star Wars books on the plan for next month, so I might knock one of those off and put this there. I'm not entirely sure yet, but we'll see how that goes. So that's the stuff I've been reading. As far as stuff that I bought, I bought the Bloodborne graphic novels, the box set of the first 3, which is really cool. And since I've already read one of them, now I've only got the other 2 to read. So I'm probably thinking I'm gonna do one of those each month for the next 2 months. Just because the first one only took me like 45 minutes. So those will be kind of a quick, nice little thing to get out of the way. Just read those really quickly. Cutting in here now, a couple days after I recorded that. Thankfully, I hadn't like uploaded it yet and everything. Because I actually, in the time since I recorded that video, I got another book. So I picked up It by Stephen King. This version here. This is one that I've been wanting to get for a while. I think I've said before on the channel, and I've gotten a few other Stephen King books since, because they usually didn't have this one, or if they did, it was rather expensive, at least for what I'd prefer to pay for it. I've said before that this is one that was like going to be a high priority, like if I found it for a good price. And my local Bull Moose, which is a store that I love, they had it used for $8, and I had enough points with the store to get it for half off. So I got it for like $4.50 for like a big trade paperback, which the usual price it looks like is $20. So not a bad deal by any means. So I'm excited to read that. I've been wanting to read it for a while. I've heard great things about it mostly. And I've loved the Stephen King books that I've read so far, so I'm very excited to check that one out. As far as stuff that was sent to me, which is the rest of the books that I'm going to talk about, first things first, I had my new releases from Baen Books. Of course, I'm now on their mailing list, which is super cool. Very thankful for that. So they sent me their new ebooks for this month, which is several of those were like re-releases or things like that. Anytime it seems like they re-release a book, they also send out the ebook for it. So one of those was, I think, a new release, which was Sometimes in the Fall by John Van Stry. I did grab that one. At the time, it didn't say whether it was in a series, so I assumed it was a standalone. It turns out it is a part of the series, so I'll have to try to get my hands on the first book at some point, but it is only book 2, and I think it's a new book. but seems interesting based on the little bit that I read about it. I also grabbed Monster Hunter International. I can't speak today apparently. By Larry Correia. I've heard good things about Larry Correia's books and such. And I'm not sure 100% if he's a writer that I'll enjoy, but I figure, you know, I can at least try him out, and Monster Hunter is probably his most popular series, and this is the first book in that series, so I figured I'd check it out. So I figured I'd grab it and hopefully read it sometime. So I'm looking forward to that. I also was directly sent and talked to and was sent a book by Michael McGuire called The Lost Company. Which don't know a whole lot about it, but from the looks of it, it looks to be kind of Viking-ish inspired fantasy type thing. Super cool. Seems to be self-published. Appears to be his first book, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. Big thanks to him for sending that my way as well. And then the last thing that was sent to me, or this wasn't sent to me, but it was a book that was available for free on Kindle. I like to try to keep my eyes on some of those. A lot of times, like self-pub books or things like that will go up for free or for cheap on Kindle, so I like to keep an eye out for those deals. And in celebration of the second book in this series coming out, Timothy Wolf, who was a self-pub author, had the first book in his series for free, which is called The Whisper That Replaced God, which is not something that I am super familiar with, but I follow several people over on Twitter who have really enjoyed this. I believe it's a novella. It seems to have some kind of interesting premise behind it that really kind of appeals to me. So hopefully I can get around to that at some point, and hopefully I'll enjoy it. Figured it was free, so I might as well check it out, and so I grabbed that as well. So that's pretty much it as far as the books that I read, the books that I got, all that kind of thing. Of course, I got quite a few things this month, but not really much to say about any of them, so I figured I'd do them in this video rather than like a dedicated book haul. As far as other things on the channel, going pretty good. Nothing real crazy to talk about right now. We are at about 850 subscribers, I think slightly more than that. Yeah, things have been just kind of going normal, steady, not really much going on. I do have some things that I am working on that are not related to this channel, but I do have things that I am working on related to another YouTube channel that I'm hoping to get going, but not much to talk about with that right now because I'm kind of still in the early process of working on that. So probably by this time next month, hopefully, I will be able to talk a little bit more about that. Just wanna do another channel. So I'm working on that a little bit. So hopefully that goes well, and hopefully this time next month or sometime, you know, this spring, I can get that started up. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Not much to talk about in terms of updates. So that is pretty much it. So let me know in the comments if you have read any of the books that I talked about in this video, whether they be the ones that I read or the ones that I got, whatever they may be. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. Anything here that I think most of these I haven't reviewed yet. So I think the only one I've reviewed is the Bloodborne comic, and also I can't remember if my Sword of Kaigen and I don't think my Sword of Kaigen and Songs of Love and Death review is up yet. I can't remember. But whatever, you know, you're most interested to hear me talk about, let me know in the comments. Of course, all of these have reviews coming, all the ones that I read or I'm in the process of reading. And if you read anything cool this month, let me know what you checked out this month or anything that you bought or whatever that may include. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.